Hey guys, I'm Natalia from Melina Studio, and today I'm going to give you a tutorial on how to do the Juliet sleeve pattern. I've gotten so many comments and requests for this pattern. I get it. I created these sleeves myself, I have patterned it myself, and I'm happy to digitize it for you. But I thought before I do that, let me create a tutorial on how to make the sleeves without a pattern first and see if that does the job. If you guys still want a clear-cut printable pattern, I can happily digitize that. But with these gas prices going on, I thought, let me try to make this as accessible as possible and show you guys how you can just do it from scratch. Without further ado, let's get into it. Let me show you what materials you'll need to do these sleeves.
In true Melina fashion, I will be using thrifted curtain panels, but if you're not using thrifted materials, don't worry, I'll go over measurements later in the video. You're going to need some elastic. This is so that the sleeves are nice and stretchy around the bicep, and then a good pair of cutting shears, nothing that's seen paper. You can never have too many pins. I'm using 100% polyester thread, and then of course a measuring tape. I'll be using a Brothers serger, the Lock 103 4D machine. If you don't have a serger, that's okay. Just use your sewing machine and use a zigzag stitch. My sewing machine is the Brothers Strong and Tough. Now, if you're not using thrifted materials, you can really just skip past this part, but to prep the curtains, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first cut off the ends that have the curtain rock panel. I will be saving these and using these later on for the elastic band panel, but you're just going to want to remove that for now. And then on the other end of the fabric where it's sewn over, you're just going to unpick that so that you have as much fabric as possible. Again, this is just prepping the thrifted curtains. If you are just cutting normal fabric, you won't have to worry about this step. And then just making sure you're doing that to both panels, not just the one. Regardless of what fabrics you're using, these are going to be the main pattern pieces, so you're going to want to finish off the ends before we do any other work, just so it's a clean finish all the way around the sleeve. But before we get into that, let's talk about measurements. So to break this down, the basic sleeve pattern is simply a rectangle, and the curtain that I thrifted each panel is 84 inches by 54 inches. Obviously this is preset, so if you're cutting your own fabric, let's go over it. The longest part of the sleeve pattern is going to determine the back of the sleeve. So this is going to be from the shoulder to the ground. It will be the longest part of the sleeve, as you can see here. The shorter side of the pattern piece will determine the length of the sleeve from the shoulder to the elbow opening. And this is what allows for you to keep the drama of the sleeve but still be able to move your hands with ease and overall be more comfortable wearing the garment. We will also be adding elastic channels along on the arm, and basically where this channel sits determines where on the arm it will sit. So if you want it to be higher or lower on the arm will determine where you place the channel, as you can see here. And for my visual learners, I'm also going to drape it on my mannequin so you can see how it works in action. You're going to take the middle of the short side of your pattern piece and pin that at the top of the shoulder and pin down to the size of your shoulder like sleeve hole in your top. And then you're simply just going to pin down to where you want it to start opening up on your elbow, and this kind of starts to create the shape. And through this you can kind of see where you're going to want to put your elastic panels to create that balloon sleeve effect on the top. At this point you should start to see it kind of coming together, the whole silhouette, and this is what it looks like laid out flat. And then just making sure that everything looks even before taking it to the sewing machine. You can use a straight stitch to pin down the elastic panels. Just make sure that you are leaving both ends open so that we can put the elastic in through once it's all sewn onto the sleeve. It should look a little something like this once it's all sewn together. For the elastic, this should be quite simple. You're just going to cut 2 pieces of elastic to the size of your bicep measurement, and then we're going to feed this through those channels that we just sewed onto the sleeve. For this part, I'm going to use just a safety pin to kind of zhuzh the elastic in through that panel. As you get the first bit in, just make sure you pin in the end of the elastic once it gets to that point so it doesn't go through the channel and you get rid of all your hard work. And then you're really just going to get it all the way through the panel, and then once it gets to the end, remove the safety pin and then pin that side down, and it should look a little something like this. Voila, the hardest part is over. Now we really just need to pin both sides together and sew the length, our desired length that we want on the sleeve. So make sure that you have enough room for your armhole to attach to your top, and then below the elastic band is where you're just gonna sew a little bit down so that you still have that opening below the elbow. And then we're just gonna make sure that it looks the exact same on both sleeves. I love a symmetrical sleeve. I think it just looks really clean and nice, and then we're gonna take it to the sewing machine. And for this part, you can again just use a straight stitch. Just make sure that you are stitching everything through, especially around the elastic. You want to make sure the thread isn't jumping and everything is securely sewed down. Once that's sewn up, you're just going to turn it inside out and you have your finished Juliet sleeve. This is how mine turned out. I am utterly obsessed with how dramatic these are, and the most exciting part is that this is just the bare bones of it. Usually I like to add a waterfall ruffle, ribbon, lace, trim to the ends of the sleeves, but you can do anything with this pattern. If you do end up making a Juliet sleeve, please tag me with how it turned out. I'm so eager to see your guys' creation. Thanks again for watching, and subscribe for more tutorial videos!